Hi, my name is Debra Wallace Foreman, and I wear many, many hats. Everybody wears many hats. I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I am a writer, I'm a blogger, I am a good friend, and someone that likes to help people. But most of all, my important role and my important hat is the mother of an 11-year-old son with autism. My son Adam and I are a team, and when he hurts, I hurt. So I'm here today to talk about nurturing a child with autism or other special needs. My son is high functioning, and I see children from ages 2 to 42 adults. Some of them are high functioning and some of them are lower functioning. But nurturing your child with autism is different than nurturing a typical child, because sometimes an 11-year-old or a 15-year-old or a 20-year-old will act like a 3-year-old, and sometimes they'll act like their age, and sometimes this roller coaster of our lives can happen in a day, in a week, or an hour. So sometimes things can be difficult because I don't want to be overprotective, and I don't want to, people will criticize me. Why are you cutting his meat, at age 11? Well, is he good enough? Is he able to use a knife and still stay safe? Is he able to pour his own juice and help himself at a buffet line? Sometimes I think yes, sometimes I think no. So nurturing your child does not mean helicopter mom or helicopter parent. It means letting them spread their wings a little bit. And it also means understanding when they're having a bad day. The one thing that I find that's universal about children with autism and other special needs, and there's many, many things that go on in the spectrum and the different levels and the different quirks and the differences, change. Change is difficult. A lot of people don't like change unless it's buying a new car or going on a vacation. But for my son, a new counselor or a new issue, or moving from school to camp, or moving from camp to vacation, or any of these things is difficult, and he has to really wrap his head around it and to want to try something different. So I would tell parents of special needs children to understand these behavior changes, to seek support, and to support the child. So, yes, I work and I work a lot and I have a lot of things and a lot of deadlines. But my sister gave me great advice. She said, when your son comes off the bus from camp or school, give him, from 4:15 to 5:15 if you can. Don't make any appointments. Don't have any meetings. Don't go to the chiropractor. Just make that Adam time. Because if you don't do that and your child is looking for your guidance or to tell you about his day, or just wants some hugs and some nurturing, he's going to relentlessly say, Mommy, 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 I need you. I got to tell you this. I got to show you this. So you're not going to get much work done anytime anyway during that time period. So just cut out that time for your child. That is one big piece of advice. There's a lot of tips people will give you in terms of planning. And one of the things that I do for my son is I do not tell him that we're having a play date, or we're going to a pool party or a barbecue or Sesame Place or any of these places unless I really know we're definitely going. We have the tickets in hand. We know it's not raining. We know our friends are coming. Because if I tell him 2-3 days in advance or 2-3 hours in advance and it doesn't happen, then he'll be very disappointed. And while a typical child of 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 can get over it very quickly, my son can't, and it can spoil, hours or days or weeks. So these are things that we have to do, and it's a roller coaster ride. A roller coaster ride means there's ups, there's downs. You're not sure every twist and every turn. It's a wonderful, exhilarating experience, but it's also exhausting, and you're not anticipating everything that's happening. And so you have to take a lot of deep breaths. And, I would never tell anybody, if you do this diet, or if you do this plan, or if you do yoga, your child is going to be calmer, but there's things that you can try. And if your child is interested in sports, I talked previously about stretching. Temple Grandin, who I've interviewed on several occasions for hours at a time, says that any child, especially one with autism and special needs to be stretched. So if they're interested in art, if they're interested in music, if they're interested in t-ball or games or dinosaurs or any topic or thing that they can wrap their head around and really feel good about that, then use that. You can get dinosaur books, you can get dinosaur videos, anything that they're good at and that they enjoy, you can use as a teaching tool and a learning tool. And and be aware that there's going to be behavior changes. I did a story on autism and puberty, and we talked about the physical and emotional changes. Children who are docile and never had a behaviorist in their entire life all of a sudden needed someone to help them with the mood swings and understanding what was going on in their bodies and their minds and psychologically. And a child can say, mommy, I want a play date. And then you invite one or two children to your house and they're having a good time. And all of a sudden, the other little boy or girl wants to play with my son's toy. Well, my son's an only child, and sharing is still, even at 11 years old, not a concept that he has embraced wholly. So how do you set the rules that you're going to try this toy for 5 minutes and then you're going to go back and forth? So these are things that you have to model for your child, and I do as much as I possibly can, but know that there's going to be obstacles, and trying new things is one of the biggest things that I find with children with autism. Anything new is a little scary, is a little different. So the first time to get my son to try something, unless it's pizza, chocolate chip cookies, or a preferred toy, he's going to say, no, I don't know how to play Scrabble. I don't know how to play cards. I don't know how to run a race. I don't know how. Well, of course he doesn't know how. Everybody has to learn things the first time. And when you nurture what they love, then you might be able to get them I think I was saying the other day, I was comparing something that he didn't want to do to a preferred activity. My son is very much into the Cars movies, Cars 1, 2, and 3, and all the little cars and their names and stuff like that. So I said, why don't we pretend what the game that we're playing is a race, and you're one of the race cars, so he can understand that. And he got excited about something that might have been something that he wasn't interested in. The main thing about being a special needs parent is perspective. People who haven't seen my son for 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years say, oh my God, he has learned so much. He has done so much. He has grown so much emotionally, psychologically, educationally. And that's exciting for me to hear. And I need to hear it, because when you're so close to a situation and you're with it every single day, you don't always understand the growth and the things, because sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So I'm very proud of my son. I'm very proud of the advances that he's made. And when I say nurture your child with autism, I mean at school, I mean with therapists, I mean with play dates, and everywhere you go. You could go to the park one day and have an excellent experience, and then the next day or a month later or 3 months later, something changed. They changed the slide, they changed the color of the swing, they moved this, they say, there's a big sign, no waiting in the waiting pool, or no sprinklers allowed. And my son is expecting it to be exactly the way it was the week before, the month before, the year before. He remembers it. He has a photogenic memory, and he's upset because his expectations were not kept. So and again, these are things that you have to keep in mind. So everybody needs to take deep breaths and planning. I talked on my first broadcast about my mommy bag. In my mommy bag, I keep bottles of water, cold for the summer, and I keep some things that I need, like hot tea if my throat is a little scratchy. But I keep cotton balls, so if something is too noisy for my son, He can put a cotton ball in each ear, not too small, like a half or 2/3, so nothing gets stuck in there. Some children use headphones, some muffler type headphones, and little by little, he's adjusting to noises, lawnmowers and leaf blowers and the hand dryers in the bathrooms. Sometimes he needs the cotton balls in the movies. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes I need the cotton balls in the movies if it's 3D and IMAX and everything is booming around. So definitely being prepared, bringing favorite snacks. We always have some Cheerios and some those little packages of healthy snacks as we can do. And I think the main thing is, as difficult as this can be and as rocky as this can be, you want it to be fun too. You want to try new things, even though your child's going to say no, 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 and have a great time with it. So I think that my message to everybody is everybody take some deep breaths. And if something doesn't work, don't throw it away. I know people who love ABA therapy, and I know people that it didn't work for. And I know people who tried it a different way. You can have a behaviorist come to your house and model the behavior that you're looking for in your son, and take turns and do all these great things. And then an hour later, a week later, or 6 months later, your child will have a meltdown and you're just like, oh my God, we've regressed and nothing is working and I'm a terrible mom. And again, you take a deep breath, and I'm not a terrible mom. I'm sometimes overworked and sometimes short tempered. Like I say that parenting is difficult. Even if you have a model child who gets all A's and B's and does everything they're supposed to, and is going to be the valedictorian of their class, it's still weighing and measuring, and your needs and their needs, and making sure all the papers are signed, and that you don't miss any deadlines and any applications, and you don't forget pajama day and this day and that day. And special needs parenting is sort of parenting on steroids. I mean, it's hyped up, it's more complicated, it's more difficult. Doesn't mean it's not fun. It doesn't mean it's not rewarding. I mean, when I find a teacher or a speech therapist or a tutor or anybody in my son's life, big brother kind of person, and they get my son and they see his good qualities and they want to help and they want to nurture, then that's a win. And I keep saying I'm going to invite all these people to his law school graduation, but whatever he winds up doing, whether it's college, vocational training, some kind of job, or if he can go to higher education, we have to stretch our children. We have to make them the best that we can be. We have to be proud of them even if they can't do what their peers can do. Compare Adam to Adam. Compare Lisa to Lisa. Compare your child and nurture them and nurture their strengths and love them. And if you've got 5 friends in your life and a couple family members who say, oh my God, this is an amazing child, even if he has meltdowns, even if he's difficult, even if he says, please, 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 100 times to get that extra cookie, and he doesn't need that extra cookie, you love him, and because of it, not really in spite of it. So we're having a great time at camp. And I went to visit camp, and he was swimming and he was horseback riding and he was outdoors and playing with goats and sheep. And that's another thing. So I find the things that my son loves and is good at, like the dinosaurs and the animals and the 4-H and the horseback riding. Every child has it. You had it when you were a child. And if you can nurture that and love them for it and push them a little bit, not so that they're totally baffled or scared or, having meltdowns every minute, but enough to say, I'm embracing you. I'm embracing what you love. And we're on this journey together. It's a roller coaster, but it's a good one. And it's kind of funny that I use that analogy because my son loves theme parks. He loves roller coasters. I have a question. Who are the role models you use for your son outside of the immediate family? Great teachers or counselors? We have friends who are role models. He's got a couple friends who have typical children, ages 11 and 12, and they're amazing role models for him because they don't have some of the quirks and odd behaviors, so he can see, what they're interested in, which might be a little higher level. role models. Temple Grandin is an amazing one. I've read, other moms of children on the spectrum for me are role models. And I think the modeling the behavior at my kitchen table, with my sister or my friend or my mother, or, he's had amazing speech therapy. He's had good behaviorists. He's had some respite workers. And it's just, you know, you keep looking for those people that get your child. And every year I tremble when I have to find a new class and a new teacher, but I'm on top of it. And so I thank everybody for joining me. I'm Debra Wallace Foreman. I'm a writer. I'm a blogger. I'm a special needs mom. You can go to Wallace Media Services. You can go to autismcaresfoundation.org. I thank you kindly, and I'll see you next time.